everybody, so today we're going to be reading the new story, the Xeno-Hero Bnha X xenomorph male listener up in here. The author is, oh goodness, I'm gonna try my best to say the author. I believe it is Penguilicious 27. This story got voted on. Everyone, I read the story before. It is very good. Sadly, it is not continued and has not been continued for a while now, so I don't really expect the author to continue this, but either way, I'm going to read it and give it the credit it deserves, because it's, for me, it's an interesting story, because not every day you find a story like this, and I think it's really interesting. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Anyways, let's read the summary. In a world where the abnormal is a norm in the form of quirks, over 80% of the world's population have these powers, some big and some small, but all have their special use. Izuku Midoriya, however, wasn't born with one of these powers. Instead, he was part of the remaining 20% of normal people or quirklessness. He was bullied constantly for being the only one having not developed any quirk, but he remained cheerful. One day, while walking home from being beaten up, he passed a rattling trash can in an alleyway. Thinking it was merely a cat or a dog searching for food, he pulled out a treat and slowly approached the shaking can. The rattling stopped, and out popped a small xenomorph head, startling Izuku, causing him to drop the snack and freeze in fear. The xenomorph crawled out and inspected the treat before slowly eating it. While the xenomorph was eating, Izuku hesitantly reached his hand out and gently rubbed its head. Seeing the small creature lean into his touch excited Izuku, as he thought he finally found a friend. That is interesting. I don't own any of the pictures in this. All credit goes to the original makers. Nope. Let's get into it. We are in these warnings, so there will be mentions of severed fingers, acid, like throwing acid and like burning things, flesh, all that sort of stuff. There will be mentions of takeovers, but like, the violence part of it, where, when you're taking over something, you're killing everything or most of everything to show fear, or just take away things, whatever. Something like that. Traveling to a whole new different world. Mention of killing animal. Rabies will be in the story as well. Severe bullying, just very severe all around, and definitely injustice, and to the point where the school definitely needs to be shut down. There will be a lot of threats mentioned, violence, gouging eyes out, just a lot of blood and violence, guys. But if I have anything else that I forgot to mention to you guys, they will be on the screen right now. You guys have been warned. The Prologue. Why in POV? I was a warrior, but not just any common soldier, bred in the hundreds. No, I was so much more. I was a Ravager, a beast purely made for war. And unlike my siblings, my hands were replaced with giant blades, capable of destroying a Yautja ship. I hope I said that right. There was only one of me and 3 Praetorians. We were much bigger and stronger than our younger siblings. Although we were all born to defend, I was not like them. While the Praetorians protect our mother and the eggs, I protect the hive by killing our enemies first. I was so good at my job that the hive prospered. But it all came to an end on this fateful day, since this was when the Yautja finally managed to find us. Not even a minute since the invasion began, and already several of the workers and warriors were slaughtered by the invaders. These Yautja were not like the ones we fought in the past. They were so much more efficient and seemed experienced in hunting our kind. They were some sort of elite units of their people, just like me. That's why my mother sent me and one of my Praetorian brothers to push back the invaders. We passed several of our dead siblings. Some had their heads ripped off, while others were left impaled on the walls by spears. If only we'd gotten here sooner, we might have prevented their deaths. My brother seemed to have noticed my sad state as he gently rubbed his head against mine and let out a light hiss. I was about to show my thanks, but we were interrupted by the head of one of our brothers being thrown at our feet. We looked at the direction it came from, and there they were, 2 elite Yautja. They were covered in the blood of our siblings, and underneath the acid, we saw what appeared to be heavy armor. They showed no fear at the sight of us. I hissed before charging at them as they did the same. My brother just behind me. Their shoulder weapons shot bright orbs at us. Although they didn't manage to penetrate our skin, it did stagger us. My brother swung his tail at the Yautja, intending to crush them, but they dodged and activated their spears before stabbing them deep in his tail. I came forward and slammed my blade arm on one of the Yautja, successfully cutting him in half. My brother grabbed his attacker and slammed him on the ground, allowing me to stomp him with my foot. I turned to my brother to see how he was doing, only to see him staring at the hall ahead of us. It was filled with the corpses of our dead siblings. I moved to my brother's side and brushed my head against his, just like he did with me. When? We might not have been able to save them, but we can save Mother and our unborn siblings. He rubbed his head against mine before hissing. We continued to run down the paths of our hive, killing any invaders we came across. Everywhere we turned, more and more of our dead siblings littered the ground. But we made sure to add the Yautjas to the pile of dead. But while we continued to repel the invaders, I couldn't help but wonder, how did they find us? We were deep underground with only one entrance that was concealed by this plain's rock formations. My mother's voice interrupted my thoughts. She sounded frantic. My children, return to the egg chamber quickly. The invaders have... My mother didn't finish her sentence as her roar ripped through the air before it fell silent. My brother and I looked at each other before we quickly ran towards the tunnels that led to our mother. Along the way, the number of Yautja we encountered became lower and lower. Please be all right, Mother. Most of our family is dead. We cannot lose you, too. We finally made it back to the egg chamber, only to see our mother wasn't there and all the eggs were destroyed. Mother's scent is here, but it's faint. Why haven't any of our other siblings answered to Mother's call? We began to search the chamber for any sign of where our mother went. I couldn't sense any of my siblings nearby, all except for the Praetorian currently with me. Just as I was about to stop searching, the Praetorian let out a roar. I turned to him to see what he found. In his hands was still an intact egg. He turned to me and held the egg in front of me. Wyan, there is still hope for our family. Before we could figure out what to do next, our mother's roar echoed throughout the hive. She was close. Wyan, stay here and protect that egg. He nodded as I immediately ran to find the origin of our mother's roar. As I continued running, the corpses of my brothers began to increase. And once I was at one of the many entrances, not only was there a huge pile of my siblings' corpses, but also the corpses of the rest of the Praetorians with multiple spears lodged into them. If our mother's defenders are dead, and I can't sense any of my siblings, that means our entire hive must have been wiped out. But my mother may yet still live. I noticed the ground was cracked and broken, leading straight ahead. They must have dragged Mother out. With a newfound determination, I got on all fours and charged out the exit. There was a massacre, and there was only one egg left. So, unless our sibling becomes a queen, there won't be a future for our hive without Mother. I just hope she's okay, and I arrive in time to protect her. I finally found where they took my mother, along with a giant Yautja ship. The yautja were numerous. We never stood a chance. And they had my mother chained down. I can't run in there and save my mother without being surrounded in seconds. But I can't let them take her. Our survival depends on our mother. What do I do? My mother hasn't given me an order. What do I do? And I can't rush in without dying. Their ship began to rise as they finished placing my mother inside and boarded themselves. There is no time to think of a way for me to live through this fight, since what did I care about my safety and survival over my mother's? And with that in mind, I roared before running to the machine. It seemed that they noticed me as the ship's weapons aimed at me before firing. I dodged the missiles before jumping and grabbing onto their ship. My weight made the ship tilt down greatly before it leveled out. The ship began to rise away from our home as I started to plunge my blades repeatedly into the hull, trying to bring it down. After a moment, it began to smoke and spark. It's almost destroyed. Just one more good strike should do it. Before I could finish that thought, a searing pain spread across my entire body as a missile made contact with me, launching me off. The ship then sent a barrage of missiles at me, causing me to be launched at a high speed away from their ship. I'm sorry, Mother. I failed to protect you and my siblings. Third person. A huge flaming object began to enter Earth's atmosphere, and as it was falling, it began to compress, reducing its size, until it was finally reduced to the size of a puppy. Its size might have been reduced, but its strength still remained. Not far from where the object will land, he will soon meet a new creature to serve, and this time, he will not fail to protect him. That is a badass prologue, honestly. Jesus. Oh my goodness. Feels like I'm in a whole ass comic book, bro. That was good. I like that. Chapter 1. Finding a New King. Why in POV? What happened? Wasn't I on that flying machine? No. Now I remember I was shut off. I failed my mother in the hive. Everything I was born to protect now gone. What do I do? There are no eggs to continue the hive, and I lost contact with my mother, so there is no more orders. My entire purpose was to protect, but now there's nothing left to protect. I feel empty. Well, I guess I'll try to find something else to do. As I got up, something was wrong. Not only did I not know where I was, but it seemed my body has reduced in size. I was so fucking ugly but cute. My blade arms were shorter, but it seemed that they still have their sharpness. My tail was now smaller than my body length, while my head was the biggest part of my body. If my siblings saw me like this, I would have been the laughingstock for years. I surveyed my surroundings, looking for any indication of where I was, but I could tell that I was deep in a cave, with the only light source being the hole on the roof I crashed through. Might as well get out of here. Maybe I can find another queen or king to protect. I went over to one of the walls and stuck my claw hand deep into it. Using it as an anchor point, I lifted my body and used my other claw hand to anchor myself again. I repeated this process, climbing the wall until I made it to the roof of the cave. I stabbed my claws into the roof just like I did to climb the wall. Only after a moment I made it to the hole. I crashed through before crawling through towards the surface. Turns out I was inside a cave in a hill overlooking a human city. Well, since I have nothing to do, I might as well explore. I began to run down towards the giant buildings in search of a purpose or adventure. I passed a few creatures, but they didn't seem to notice me or didn't care. However, one was following me, and it seemed to produce bubbles from its mouth. What a strange creature. Are the bubbles a defense mechanism? No matter. I'm almost to the huge buildings. I ignored the creature and finally entered the city, seeing multiple humans and some strange ones. Some had tails, extra limbs, different bodies. Did humans evolve? If my have still lived, I would have reported this to our mother. When they saw me, they only looked at me confused saying things like, "What is that? Did an animal get a quirk? What a strange puppy? What's a quirk? Is that what they call my kind? No, that would be a strange thing to call us. They don't seem to show fear towards me. Have they ever encountered my kind? Well, I can ponder on this later. But now time to explore. I followed where the humans were moving, thinking they must be migrating to a new location. Maybe they're... Wait, what's that smell? It smells familiar. I began to follow the smell, trying to figure out that familiar scent. That smell led me to a secluded area with a few light sources and strange symbols above me. Guess what? They're strange to me because I have no idea what those mean. The scent was coming from a big green box filled with other strange smells. I climbed into the box of smells and moving some of the objects, searching for that familiar scent. After tossing some of the objects out, I finally found what was making the smell. It was a, "Hey, here, little buddy." A voice caught my attention. It was soft and energetic, so I popped my head out to see what it was. 5 minutes earlier. Midoriya POV. Izuku. That was mean, Kachan. Can't you see he's crying? If you keep going, I'll never forgive you. Before we start this, I'm just gonna say this right now, guys. I fucking hate Bakugo. I'm sorry. He had probably some major character development, but I fucking hate him with my guts. I don't know why. What am I doing? I can't stand up to Kachan by myself. I don't even have a quirk to help me, but I can't just let him keep hurting other kids. Katsuki, even though you're quirkless. He made an explosion in his hand as his lackeys activated their quirks, intimidating me. Katsuki, you're pretending to be a hero, Deku? They charged at me and proceeded to beat me senseless. At the end of it, I had some bruises on my arms and legs, along with some burn marks on my shirt. I didn't even fight back, because even if I could, it would have made things worse. Everything hurts, but at least they left the other kid alone. I might as well go home. I got up and began my walk home. It's not like I have anyone to hang out with anyway. Every one of my classmates are too scared to even be seen with me, not wanting Kachan to hurt them too. Oh my, I'm sorry guys, because I'm just imagining if my niece had somebody like this. Oh no. They will be dealt with shortly. No. That kid will never be seen again. I'm sorry. Oh my god, my anger issues could never. My anger issues. I cannot with my life. Mm-mm. Oh my god. Anyways, I'm sorry guys. I'm just getting angry by reading this. I'm I cannot with my life. Anyways, if I had a quirk, maybe Kachan would still want to be my friend. Why would you want him to be your friend? I looked both ways before crossing the street, passing a few alleyways. Well, at least they didn't break the granola bar in my pocket that would have been a hassle to clean. I pulled the snack out of my pocket before removing the wrapper and taking a small bite. Chocolate chip and peanut butter. I feel slightly better, emotionally better now. As I was about to pass another alleyway, I heard rustling coming from one of the trash containers. I poked my head into the alleyway only to see trash and trash bags scattered everywhere. Some of the bags had rips in them. I think a poor animal is hungry. Mom said to never go through an alleyway, but an animal could be starving. I'm sorry, Mom, but I can't let an animal die of hunger. A hero saves everyone, even animals. I slowly approached the trash container while removing the rest of the wrapper from my granola bar. Please be nice and don't bite or scratch me. Izuku, here, little buddy. After a second, a strange creature popped its head out before climbing out. Its head was huge and looked smooth. It had a scorpion-like tail and what seemed to be blades on its hands. Its appearance alone startled me enough to drop the granola bar and slightly back up. It seemed to sniff the snack before eating it. I don't know what animal it is, but it was as small as a puppy and adorable as one. Sure. I slowly extended my hand out, about to pet its head before it looked at me and hissed. The noise caused me to fall as the creature approached and began to smell me. I was waiting for it to bite, claw, or stab me, but it didn't. Instead, it began to rub its face against my cheek and purr. Izuku. So it's like a cat with a quirk, but it has a scorpion tail. But it also has mantis-like blade hands. So is it like a combination of all those things or an entirely different species? Its head kind of looks like an eggplant. Is it a vegetable with a quirk? I didn't notice. I began to mutter to myself again, or the creature giving me a confused look. Human POV. The human began to say some things I didn't understand, but there is that one word again. Quirk. Are those weapons that... Does this human have one? As I examined the human, I noticed his body was bruised and burned. So he is fragile. He needs a protector. Protector. That's me! I can protect this human. I can have a purpose again, and he can be my new king, my new family. I wonder if this human has other members of his family. What's that? I turn around and I see the same dog with the bubbles coming towards us. Izuku POV. My muttering was cut off by a growl in front of me. I thought it was a creature, but it was looking at something to his right. When I turned, I saw a giant dog foaming from its mouth and growling at us. I think it's rabid. I held the small creature in my hands before slowly backing up away from the dog. My back hit the wall of the alleyway as the dog began to slowly approach. I placed my body between the small creature and the huge dog, waiting for it to kill me. Someone please help us. YN POV. My king is scared. My family is scared, and this animal is producing his fear. I hissed at the creature, attempting to get it to leave us. But instead, it's directed its attention to me now as it began to growl and snarl. It's showing hostility, and as my king's protector, it is my job to eliminate all threats to him and his family. I escaped from my king's arms and charged at the creature before slamming my blade hand into its skull. I was surprised it died this easily. I used my tail to push the body off my blade as the body fell limp. What a weak creature compared to me, but it's dangerous compared to young humans like my king. Speaking of which, I turned to him only to see his eyes widen looking at the corpse of the dead enemy. Does he not like the sight of it? Then shall I dispose of it immediately? I hovered over the carcass before spewing acid all over it, disintegrating it immediately. I looked back to my king to see he's calmed down, but when he looked at me, he looked scared again. He is not supposed to fear me. He is supposed to feel safe and secure with me around. I approached my king and rubbed my head against his cheek and neck while purring, trying to calm him down. He slowly wrapped his arms around me and hugged me before getting up. Izuku, do you want to come with me? I purred once more, rubbing my head around on his neck. Izuku, all right, let's go home. I have to show you to my mom. His mom. So my king does have a family, and I will protect them with my life. I will kill their enemies and carry out their orders without fail, and this time, I will not fail. Izuku POV. I ran the rest of the way home, still carrying my new pet. No, he's more than that. He's my new friend. My feet were hurting, but I didn't care. I was excited. I just hope my mom will let me keep him. I finally reached my house and opened the door as I began to search for my mother. Izuku, Mom! Inko, I'm in the kitchen, sweetie. I ran into the kitchen before holding out my new friend so my mom can see him. Izuku, Mom, can I please keep him, please? Inko, keep who, sweet? She cut herself off with a gasp and began to shake. I thought she was angry until she grabbed my new friend from my hands and proceeded to hug him while squealing. Inko, she's so cute. What's her name? What is she? What does she eat? Izuku, I don't know if it's a boy or girl, and I don't know what it is. Inko, didn't you check? She proceeded to hold it over her head, but she didn't see anything. She then held it in one arm, rubbing its head as her face showed she was thinking. I was standing there while the creature was purring to do while my mom was rubbing its head. Inko, I got it. She stopped rubbing its head and reached into her purse, taking out a quarter before tossing it to me. Inko, heads or tails? Izuku, tails? Inko, alright, now flip it, and if it lands on heads, she's a girl. But if it lands on tails, he's a boy. I nodded before I flipped it. But I flipped it at an angle so I was heading towards my mother and my new friend. My mother was about to catch it, but the creature opened its mouth with a tongue with sharp teeth came out and caught the coin. We were both shocked, but my mother got out of her shock first as she took the coin from its tongue. She looked at the coin, but then her face turned pouty. Inko, you won, honey. What do you want to name him? I get to name him? I get to name him? What do I call him? Might baby might? Mightily little? Inko, and know all might related names. Izuku, what, why? Inko, because you have enough all might related things already. I even got you all my undies you desperately wanted me to buy. Izuku, that's because they're super comfortable. Now that's a good name. What's a good name that isn't All Might related? Jacob? No. That doesn't feel right when you say it. Oh, I got it. Izuku, YN. Third POV. YN's head perked up at that name as Inko placed him in Izuku's arms. Izuku, welcome to the family, YN. This is your new home. As Inko finished that as Izuku finished that sentence, he hugged YN as one thought was in his mind. I will protect you and my new home with my life, Izuku. Alright, this is badass, guys. This is what the author said. I'm being held by Dragon Spike 19-1, who's telling me information on MHA and on xenomorphs, and I think you guys are getting it right. Right, we is in chapter 2, Katsuki. YN POV. I was in bed protecting my new king as he hugged me while he slept. Since I didn't require sleep, I stayed awake on watch to make sure no threats arrived to kill my king. I don't want to lose him like I did my previous family. This time, I will eliminate any targets quickly and efficiently. He doesn't seem to like the sight of dead creatures, so I must either get permission to kill or dispose of the body. My king began to move and groan until he opened his green eyes. Izuku, good morning, YN. I hissed as a greeting. He got up and placed me on the floor while he went into the room while he went to the room of great liquid. Izuku, you can head downstairs, I'll be done in a second. When he left, I got up and waited outside the room he entered. He might take a while, so I pondered on my past events of my life. Even though my entire family was wiped out, I'm glad it happened, because if it didn't, I wouldn't have met Izuku. But my family's annihilation was due to my own incompetence, and this time I learned from that grave mistake. Any and all threats are to be killed unless my king says otherwise. I just hope I'm strong enough to protect him. I didn't notice the door open or Izuku looking shocked that I was still here waiting. He got over his shock and picked me up before going downstairs. Izuku, come on, YN, I'm gonna take you to buy a collar today, but first I think Mom made us breakfast, so let's go eat. What's a collar? He made his way downstairs, following the scent of the delicious smell. When we made it to the origin of the smell, we saw 2 plates on the table, and Izuku's mother placing some food in a bowl. Inko, good morning, sweetie. Izuku, morning, Mom. Inko, excuse me. Your breakfast is on the table. Bring Ryan over here so he can eat. His mother placed the bowl on the floor before Izuku brought me over to eat. I don't need to eat, but they're watching me expectantly. So, I opened my mouth and used my tongue to grab some of the food. It tasted heavenly, so I took another bite and then another until it was all gone. Inko, I'm glad you like my cooking. She rubbed my head before taking this now empty bowl while I sat next to Izuku's chair. I took this time to examine my body while I waited for him to finish eating. Even in my shrunken form, I still have my strength and defense from when I was at my original size. But thanks to this form, I should be able to climb walls and roofs now. Izuku, I'm done. Oh, can I have some money to buy Ryan a collar, please? Inko, alright, just don't lose it. She handed Izuku some strange object before he put it in his pocket. He then went over to me and picked me up before walking out the door. As he was walking, I got out of his arms and moved to cling on his back, making sure my blades didn't hurt him. He was surprised at first, before just smiling and continuing to walk. Izuku, are you excited, YN? YN. Izuku, I'll take that as a yes. We'll be at the pet shop in a bit. As he was walking, I looked around at all the strange humans. Some were even giving me strange glances. I remained vigilant, on the lookout for any possible threat. Whenever a human got too close to my king, I hissed and brandished my tail at them. This always deterred the humans until Izuku told me to stop. We were walking through a location Izuku called a playground to get to the store quicker. Izuku was cheerful and happy until we came across 3 younger humans. One had one had spiky-ish blonde hair, ash blonde hair. Another had small red appendages on his back, and the last one had a purple hat. My king's heartbeat increased along with his breathing as he slightly shook. His change in behavior confirmed for me to remain cautious as these are potential threats. Katsuki. Well, if it isn't Deku. Izuku. Hey, Kachan. Katsuki. What's that thing on your back? My king backed up slightly, giving me a nervous glance before answering the other human. Izuku. He's my new friend. I found him yesterday. Katsuki. Well, give him to me. My king was shocked before questioning his intentions. Izuku. Why would I do that? His question seemed to enrage the other human as his face showed nothing but anger. Katsuki. Because a pet as cool as him doesn't belong to a quirkless nobody like you. That sentence seemed to have saddened my king, as small tears began to form in his eyes. I used my blade hand to gently wipe his tear before nuzzling and pouring into his soft hair. The vibrations must have tickled him as he let out a small laugh. But when the other humans heard his laugh, they became more angry. Katsuki, so you think this is funny, Deku? You think this was some sort of joke? Before my king can respond, the human somehow made an explosion in his hand. But he didn't seem injured or bothered by it. This human is dangerous. I must deal with him to protect Izuku. Katsuki, maybe you haven't learned your lesson from the last time. Looks like you're going to have to extend the lesson. We're going to have to extend the lesson. Last time. So they were the ones who harmed my king. I'll make sure they never harm him again. The one with red appendages grew giant wings before hovering off the ground. The one with the purple hat extended his fingers, while the angry one made more explosions. My king was now very frightened, so I jumped off his back and in front of the 3 humans and hissed. They weren't scared. Instead, they laughed before the angry one gave an order. Katsuki, kill it. Izuku, Kachan, no! The flying one swooped down at me, but before he could touch me, I spewed acid in the air, shocking everyone. Some acid landed on his wings, melting it through, causing him to crash and begin to cry in pain. That's 1. Katsuki, you bastard! The angry one sent an explosion at me, but I swiftly dodged. I might be strong, but those explosions could still kill me if I'm not careful. I sensed something to my right, and the one with the purple hat shot his fingers at me. I brought my blade hand up and cutting one of his fingers off while injuring the rest. That's 2. Now the final threat to eliminate. I turned my back in time to avoid an explosion to my head. I ran around him as he kept shooting explosions everywhere. However, one explosion was heading towards my king, so I ran at him at full speed just in time for me to push him out of the way of the explosion. This caused me to be hit head on with it. The explosion stinged my head and slightly hurt me. The human seemed to have thought I was down as he turned his attention to my king, but before he could do anything, I swiftly got up and charged at the human, ramming him into the ground. I aimed my tail at his neck as I pinned him down. Katsuki, get off of me! He's scared. I can sense his fear as I opened my mouth, revealing my tongue. I was about to headbutt him, but my king ordered me to stop. Izuku, Ryan, don't kill him! I retracted my tongue, but before I got off him, I slashed his face with my tail, leaving a small scar. The scar will be unnoticeable, but this will serve as a permanent reminder if he tries to hurt Izuku. I got off of him and went over to my king as I climbed onto his back before rubbing my head against his. Izuku POV. I ran out of the park with Wyan on my back, making my way to the pet shop. I didn't think Wyan would attack Kachan and his friends, but I'm glad he likes me enough to defend me. It might be just because I fed him, but he seems very protective of me. But how many quirks does he have? He's able to spit out acid, sharp tail, sharp blades for hands, and his skin seems to be strong enough to handle a small or medium-sized explosive. I was literally pulled from my thoughts by YN pulling me back just in time as a car came zooming by. Izuku, thanks, YN. He just hissed and gave me a small nuzzle, which I laughed at as it tickled. I then noticed I actually passed the pet shop. I quickly turned around before entering the pet shop, ready to buy YN his new collar. Izuku, we're finally here, YN. Come on, let's find you a collar you either like or one that suits you. He hissed an acknowledgement before he began to look around as I moved around the store. After a while, he used his tail to pick out an expensive-looking collar. I looked up to the cashier, but on the way, Wyan grabbed a dog tag as well. This is probably going to be expensive. Oh my goodness. I placed the items on the counter, and the cashier rung them up, and placed them back on the counter. I took out the money my mom gave me, waiting for the man to tell me the price. Cashier, 1,907. What? I don't know what that's. Euros? No. Y// please. I handed over the money before grabbing the items and walking out. Once outside, I told Wyan to hop off my back for a moment to try on the collar and tag. I attached the tag on the collar before putting it around Wyan's neck, making sure it wasn't too tight but not too loose that it falls. Wyan's POV. This was the best moment of my life. Not only was I able to defend my king in combat, but I was gifted a present from him. I promised I would protect him, and I will keep that promise. No matter the threat's size, power, or status, they will all fail if they harm Izuku. We proceeded to make our way home as I played with my collar on the way. The walk back was peaceful as we went through the playground once more. There were pieces of the child's wings and the other's severed finger. I quickly covered Izuku's eyes before spewing acid on the finger and the remains of the wings. My acid was able to dissolve all the evidence of the fight in a few seconds. Once all the evidence was gone, I uncovered Izuku's eyes and went back to playing with my collar. After a few minutes, we made it back home where Izuku's mother greeted us with a smile and another delicious meal. So far, I say this day was great, minus Izuku seeing me cut the child's finger off, or melting the other one's wings. We finished dinner before Izuku took me upstairs to sleep. After the day he had, I can't blame him for wanting to sleep early. Third POV. Over the years going by, Wyan defended Izuku from all sorts of threats and attacked the threats if Izuku allowed it, which he never did. Izuku also took notes on Wyan's abilities just like he did with heroes, because in his eyes, he was a hero. Maybe Wyan can help Izuku on his journey to becoming a hero. Regardless what Izuku wants to be, Wyan will remain by his side till the end. This is awesome! Chapter 3. Izuku Midoriya. Origin. Izuku POV. Here's the sad truth. Not all men are created equal. I learned this the hard way when I was 4 years old. I'm not going to read all this. I'm not going to lie to you guys. But basically it's what I read in the beginning, where, Kachan's being an asshole. You know how it is. And where we also found, so let me read this part though. I learned that day that some kids have more powers than others, but that won't hold me back because on that day I also found my best friend Wyan. And then we found Wyan, guys. I never allowed Wyan to kill, but I only let him hurt anyone that wanted to hurt me. He's even grown to be 6 feet tall, and his tail and his blade hands have gone sharper and longer. I still don't know what species he is, but I don't care. He's my friend, and together, we'll become the #1 heroes. That's on period. Anyways, Wyan POV. My king was running towards the sound of explosions while I ran next to him, keeping a close eye on him. If there is danger in the area we're going, why is Izuku decided to go there? That is the question I ask myself each time we do this, but each time I get my answer when I look at his face. A human's eyes express many emotions, and when I look into his eyes, I see pure joy and excitement. He told me all the time he wanted to be a hero, but not just any hero. He wanted to become the #1 hero. I don't know why, but whatever his dreams are, I'll help him achieve it. Like right now. We were in the front of a place Izuku called Tattoon Station, where a giant human with a strange head was currently blocking our path. As you can see, guys. Izuku, come on, Wyan. I want to see how the heroes handle this. I nodded before moving behind Izuku as we made our way to the front of the crowd. However, it seemed my king was still trying to get a closer look, but another human was blocking his path. To help him, I gently wrapped my tail around his waist and lifted him up, proceeding to climb the huge buildings. It wasn't difficult to hold Izuku while I jumped and climbed closer to the battle. Once in a good vantage point on a roof, I unwrapped my tail from his waist as he sat down and watched the fight. Izuku, thanks, YN. This is a much better view than from the street. I hissed in thanks before lying down next to him and watching the human tree fight the giant human. The giant must have been big and strong, but it's useless if you can't hit the opponent. Izuku, wow, I can't even say half of these heroes' names. Camus Woods. Camus Woods, whatever. Blech. Something Woods. He may be new, but he's making a big name for himself. Honestly, I think he's pretty a cool hero myself. Camus Woods. Assault, robbery, and illegal use of powers during rush hour traffic. You are the incarceration of evil. Izuku. There. His special move. The preemptive binding lacquer chain prison. As his attack was about to make contact, a giant female drop-kicked the villain while yelling, Canyon? Yeah, Canyon? I noticed several human males gathering around the street taking pictures of her. Mount Lady. Piece of cake for the world's next hottest hero. Hi there, everyone. I'm Mount Lady, and you don't have to worry about this bum anymore. She struck a pose, and several more pictures takers gathered around. The crowd cheered as they began to slowly disperse. It seemed she took all the credit for that victory. While this was going on, Izuku took out his notebook and began to mutter to himself as he wrote down information. Izuku, giantification, huh? Well, she's definitely got the looks and attitude to be a class favorite, and her quirk is really showy. But it will be hard for her to get around much in the city without damaging lots of things. That means she might not be very useful. I hissed and nudged his shoulder with my head. This took him out of his mumbling state as he rubbed my head, causing me to purr. Izuku, what is it, YN? I gestured over to the sun with my tail, hoping he gets the message. It only took him a second to realize I was telling him it was time for him to leave. Izuku, oh man, I'm going to be late. Thanks for reminding me, YN. He put his notebook away, and it seems that he forgot he was on the roof, and he almost ran off the edge if I hadn't wrapped my tail around him. Izuku, oh, I forgot we're on the roof. Hey, YN, can you take me to my school, please? I nodded before bringing Izuku toward my back, where he wrapped his arms and legs around me as I jumped from roof to roof. I scaled the buildings and jumped across roofs until I made it to Izuku's school, Aldera Junior High. That piece of shit school, guys. I'm not allowed inside, so I dropped down in front of the entrance and unwrapped my tail from Izuku's waist. Izuku, thanks, YN. You got me here under a minute. Go home. I'll be back later. He hugged me before running into his school. Once he was out of sight, instead of going home, I climbed the tree outside his classroom window. Izuku doesn't know I defy his orders of going home, but I have a reason for that. As my king's protector, I'm to protect and defend him from all danger, especially from the spiky, explosive human. He is the most dangerous threat here. It's funny because literally this man could literally bite the kid's head off and then the problem would be solved. For real, like, see? Izuku POV. Teachers. So, as third-year students, it's time to start thinking seriously about your futures and what you want to do with your lives. I could pass out some career aptitude tests, but why bother? I know you all want to go to the hero track. Everyone started to cheer and show off their quirks while me and Kachan just stayed quiet. Teacher, yes, you've got some very impressive quirks, but no power usage allowed in school. Get a hold of yourselves. They didn't calm down until Kachan said something that riled them up. Bakugo, hey, Teach, don't let me in with a bunch of these losers. I'm the real deal, but these guys will be lucky to end up as sidekicks to some busted D-lister. Everyone, you think you're better than us, Katsuki? Bakugo, let's go, I'll take you all on. Cannot believe I'm reacting. I'm sorry. Teacher, you've got impressive test results. Maybe you will get into UA High. Everyone began to talk amongst themselves about this new information. He's going to try for that national school? That school has a to acceptance rate. It's impossible to get into. Bakugo. And that's exactly why it's the only place worthy of me. Kacchan jumped on his desk. As if a light shined on him, he had everyone's attention. Bakugo, I aced all the mock tests. I'm the only one at this school who stands a chance of getting in. I'll end up more popular than All Might himself and be the richest hero of all time. People all across the world will know who I am, and it all starts with UA High. What the teacher said seemed very unnecessary. This man likes to cause drama, and this is why I say I don't like this school. Because ooh. I'm gonna try my best to reenact this, but if I get mad, don't blame me, guys. I feel like you would get mad too if you had to read this and be like, you would get riled up too, you know? Anyways, teacher. Oh yeah, Midoriya, don't you want to go to UA too? Why did he have to say that now? Now the entire class knows attention's on me. They all begin to laugh at me. I wish Ryan was here so we could stop the teasing. If not, I just want some reassurance that my mother isn't the only one who likes me. Midoriya, you're kidding, right? There's no way of getting into the hero coast without a quirk. Well, actually, they got rid of that rule. I could be the first one. An angry yell and explosion stopped me from saying anything else. But when Kacchan did that, I could hear a low growl and the tree outside of our classroom rustle. Rustle, yeah. Bakugo, listen up, Deku. You're even worse than the rest of these damn rejects, you quirkless wannabe. You really think they would let someone like you in when they could have me? I crawled back, trying to tell Kacchan I would never try to compete with him. He came closer to me, making small explosion in his hands as he did so. But before he could get closer, he was pushed by a huge force into the wall. The cause of the force was none other than Ryan standing at 6 feet tall, towering over Kacchan. I guess this is the reassurance I was talking about earlier. Ryan likes me enough to protect me. Ryan POV, how dare this fool attempt to hurt my king? Did he not learn from that last time? I guess I've got to make the lesson one. I guess I've got to make the lesson one he'll never forget. As I was walking over to him, I raised my blade hand, intending to cut off the hand he used to attack my king. He looked up at me with defiance in his eyes, but I could see the fear behind that strong facade. But before I could bring the blade down, Izuku hugged me. Izuku, don't hurt Kacchan. Why, you scaring him is enough. The king's words are final, so I lowered my hand and carried Izuku back to his desk. I wiped the ashes off his desk the best I could before I handed him back his things and placed him in his seat. If they think they'll hurt my king any longer, they're gravely mistaken. Teacher, Midoriya, Before he could even finish that sentence, I spewed acid at his desk, melting it and the floor. Nobody orders my king like a mindless drone. The human stopped talking and told the explosion human to return to his seat, which he begrudgingly did. They all looked at me with fear. Good. If they fear the king's protector, that will hopefully deter future attacks. I rubbed my head against Izuku's neck before clinging to the ceiling when no one was looking. If your prey sees you, they will behave differently. But if you hide, you can see the true nature of your prey. And then the freaking Morse code, guys. I'm going to see if I can figure that out. And if I can't, hopefully somebody can. Izuku POV. I was finally at the end of the day. I had no idea where YN went, but I knew he was watching over me. Man, that fight from this morning is all over the news. Better write some notes down before I forget anything. As I was putting away my stuff, I didn't notice Kacchan or his goons come back into the classroom. I only noticed when a hand grabbed my notebook from me. Bakugo, I don't know what you think you're doing, Deku, but you're not done. But we're not done. I had more to say and do before your damn pet jumped me. I got slightly annoyed then scared when he called Ryan my pet. He's much more than that. He's my friend. Goon, what you got? His diary? Hero analysis for the future. Goon, don't tell me you're taking notes on how to be a hero. Goon 2, it's so pathetic. Goon, he's so delusional. Before Kacchan and I had a chance to speak, some liquid dripped down on his shoulder. We all looked up and saw what we saw scared them but made me happy. There was Ryan clinging to the ceiling, blending in well with the darkness. Before Kachan could react, Wine used his tail to wrap around his throat, choking him. This wasn't like when he holds me by my waist with his tail. When he does it to me, he's gentle, as if I would break. But when I look at what he's doing to Kachan, that was probably the case. Wait, no, he's choking Kachan out. Izuku, Wyan, drop him. He immediately obeyed and released Kachan, allowing him to breathe again. Wyan dropped down in front of me, facing the three of them as he screamed, causing me to pick up Kachan and run in fear. Wyan turned toward me before picking up my notebook and handing it to me. I grabbed my notebook before I rubbed his head, causing him to purr. It's funny how he acts like a lion or a pit bull to everyone, but to me and my mom, he's like just a big kitten or puppy. I got on Wyan's back as he gently wrapped his tail around my waist, making sure I don't fall. He went over to the window before leaping out and landing safely as I didn't feel the impact. This reminds me of when I was younger, but he was the one riding my back. Flashback start. Izuku, come on, Mom, it's computer time. Inko, already? I was trying to pull my mother to quicken her pace while Wyan clung to my back, slightly bouncing. Izuku, faster, let's go! Wyan. Inko, geez, I think you boys added 10,000 views to this one yourselves. I don't know why you guys like it. I think it's scary. The video we loved was an old one. Disaster footage from a long time ago. Several screams could be heard in the background. But more importantly, it was the debut of the greatest hero the world has ever known. Man, who is he? The guy's already saved 100 people at least, and it hasn't even been 10 minutes. This is crazy. I can't believe it. A silhouette appeared, climbing the destroyed vehicles and debris. You could hear grunting, but drowning it was a boastful laugh. Man, look, he's got more. The laugh continued as I waited in anticipation of what would come next. Oh my. Fear not, citizens. Help has arrived. I began to shake, waiting for his catchphrase. Oh my. Because I am here. It was like a gust of wind hit my face as if it was just him saying his catchphrase alone inspired me. Izuku, he's the coolest hero in the universe. And once I get my quirk, I'm going to be a hero just like him, right, Wyan? He hissed and snuggled into my back as I continued to play with my All Might action figurine. As I played, I heard All Might's laughter in the background. Doctor's office. Doctor, sorry, kid. It's not going to happen. Those words shattered my whole world as I dropped my toy to the ground. Wyan began to gnaw on All Might, but I didn't care as I just stayed motionless. Inko, oh dear. So you really think there's something wrong then? Most of the other kindergartners in his class have begun to slowly show signs already. Doctor, my record says you're a 4th-generation quirk user. What powers do you and your boy's father have? Inko, nothing too special. I can float small objects towards me and my husband breathes fire. They're useful enough, I suppose. As she said that, she used her quirk to float Wyan over to her to get the All Might action figurine out of his mouth. While she was floating him over to her, he was backflipping through the air, wailing his arms and legs. This caused a small smile to appear on my face. Doctor, Izuku should have already manifested one of these quirks or a combination of both, but after viewing his x-rays, I don't think he's going to. He showed an x-ray of my foot which had 2 joints. Doctor, you see, when superheroes first began appearing, there were many research studies conducted, and doctors discovered a link between the bones in a person's foot and their likelihood of developing a quirk. People with powers only have 1 joint in the pinky toes. You can see here that Izuku has 2 joints in his pinky. Based on the research that's available, it's safe to say that your son isn't going to develop a quirk. Back home. Man, who is he? This guy's already saved 100 people at least, and it even hasn't been 10 minutes. This is crazy. I can't believe it. You could hear All Might's laugh echo through the silence. Man, look, he's got more. All Might, fear not, citizens. Help has arrived because I am here. I turned the chair towards my mom, who was standing at the door watching me with concerned eyes. Wyan was on my mother's shoulders watching me. Izuku, see that, Mom? There's always a smile on his face no matter how bad things get. Even when things seem impossible, he never gives up. Do you, do you think I can be a hero too? Inko. I'm sorry, Izuku. I wish things were different. Mom, that's not what I needed you to say. Couldn't you see? My world was crumbling, and there was only one thing I wanted to hear. My mother left the room while Ryan stayed, sitting on the floor, still looking at me. Izuku, what is it, Ryan? He tilted his head at me before going over to a picture of me and him hugging each other. I was confused until he used his blade to cut out our faces before moving over to one of my All Might posters. He let out some saliva fall out on the back of the cutout picture before he placed it on the on All Might's face. The words below read #1 hero, with me and Ryan's faces on All Might's. I guess this is his way of trying to make me feel better. Thanks, Ryan. You really are the best friend I could ever want. Flashback end. I made a decision that day. No matter what anyone else thinks, I have to believe in myself. And I'll keep smiling. Just like him with Ryan by my side. I tried to imitate, thank you, All Might's laugh while waving my hand. Izuku, ha 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 ha. Ryan looked at me in confusion, but he didn't complain. He even joined in copying my hand movement as he stomped his feet. But he froze before swiftly turning around, raising his blade hands and hissing. Ryan POV. I heard something move and clatter behind us, but there wasn't any human scent, so I was on full alert. Now, a moment later, some green liquid rose up out of a manhole cover. It towered over me and looked down at us with evil in its eyes. I tightened my I tightened my tail's hold on around Izuku while he slowly backed up. My main priority is my king's safety, Izuku. A villain? Sludge villain. You'll make a perfect skin suit for me to hide in, kid. I guess I could just kill your strange pet. Izuku's heartbeat increased and his breathing became ragged. He feared this thing. He lunged at us, but I dodged, and as we dodged, I raised my blade hand and cut through his body. Strange. My blades don't seem to be harming him. I'll just have to change my attack strategy if I wish to keep my king safe. I had to dodge again as he launched his body at me, but I noticed his eyes stayed on the same position while his body moved. Sludge villain. Damn, brats, hold still. His body seems to be able to morph freely, but its eyes don't morph with the rest of his body. It may be a possible weakness to test and exploit. I raised my right hand blade and waited until he lunged once more. When he did, I dodged, and during the movement, I raised my blade and skewered his right eye. But he also hit Izuku when I passed with a solidified sludge attack. I was going to get him with only a battle wound. I was gonna let him go with only a battle wound, but now he will melt in my acid. Sludge villain. Oh, my eye! I slowly began to approach the villain as he began to back up in pain. I was about to lodge for his other eye, but before I could, the manhole cover moved to reveal another human. This is the human my king looks up to. I believe his name is All Might. All Might, have no fear. He cut himself off as he saw the villain cowering before me with his eyes skewered on my blade. All Might, well, let's wrap this up. Texas Smash! The power behind this human's punch was enough to finish the battle. I must be weary of this human if we were to become enemies. He could easily kill me. He's weakened, I can sense it, but he's still dangerous. All Might, there we are, villain captured. He showed off the villain inside a small bottle with only one eye. All Might, now, young person, who is the young man wrapped in your tail? Ryan. All Might, I don't understand you. If I had eyes, I would have rolled them, as Izuku tells me some humans do when annoyed. I gently placed Izuku on the ground and picked up his notebook before handing it over to All Might. All Might, you want me to sign this? Very well. Anything for a fan. He swiftly signed it and handed it back to me before going over to Izuku. Izuku POV. I felt something repeatedly slap my face and a voice speaking to me. All Might, hey, wake up. Hey! Thought we lost you there. When I opened my eyes, I thought I was dreaming. All Might himself was in front of me. I quickly sat up and was tackled in a hug by YN, who began nuzzling my neck. All Might, well, looks like you're moving around all right. Sorry about that back there. I didn't mean to get you caught up in my justicing. Usually I pay more attention to keeping my bystanders safe, but it turns out the city's sewer system is pretty difficult to navigate. Anyway, you were a big help. Thank you. I've captured the evil doer. The most amazing hero in the entire world. Oh my, the real thing, in the flesh, standing right in front of me. He looks so much cooler in person. Holy crap, I gotta get an autograph. Izuku, I've got a pen around here somewhere. Please sign my notebook. He already did. Thank you so much. This will be an heirloom, a family treasure passed down for generations to come. Oh my, well, I've got to get this guy to the police so they can take care of him. Stay out of trouble, and make sure you clean up after your pet. Izuku, wait, you're leaving already? Oh my, pro heroes are constantly fighting time as well as enemies. He can't go yet. There's still so many questions I have to ask him. All right, now stand back. I'm taking off. Thanks for your continued support. Before he could jump off, I broke out of Ryan's hug and latched onto All Might's leg, taking me in the air with him. Oh my god, this is where he went dumb. I'm sorry. All Might, huh? Hey, what do you think you're doing? Let go. I love my fans, but this is too much. Izuku, no way. We're flying. If I let go, I'll die. All Might, oh, that's a good point. Izuku, I just have a lot of things I want to ask you personally. You're my all-time favorite hero. All Might, please. Interesting. All Might, okay, I get it. Just keep your eyes and mouth shut. Morse code, okay. Izuku, my whole life just flashed before my eyes. All Might, not a very smart move. Bang on the door for a while. Someone will let you in. Now I have to go. See you on the flip side. Izuku, no, wait, no, not yet. 1 second. All Might, no, I don't have any time. Izuku, I have to know. Flashbacks of my entire life appeared. Every moment, everyone told me I couldn't do it. Until one of when I found YN appeared. I smiled at the last flashback before telling All Might my question. Izuku, is it possible to become a hero even if I don't have a quirk? I'm a normal kid without any powers. Could I ever hope to become someone like you? Meeting All Might was a dream come true, a real miracle. Standing in front of me was the hero I idolized most of my life. I didn't realize at the time, but that chance encounter would change the course of my life. Sorry guys, I gotta cut y'all on a cliffhanger. I'm sorry guys, I deeply apologize. But this shit is getting good, guys. It's getting good. Honestly, I cannot tell you how hard I was trying not to interrupt the katsuki scenes because, in real life, I really don't like katsuki in the anime at all. I really don't. Even if he's improved, it's just, I don't know, it's just like this thing I have. I just don't like the dude. You know, it's just one of those like hate things. Like, I'm glad he's improved, but I still don't like him. I don't like him. The unlikeness of him has gone lightened, but it still hasn't gone away. Honestly, I feel like the anime could have been very much different and better. Because I feel like they should have actually made Izuku quirkless, in my opinion. And actually, like, you know, like, let's do, like, Batman style or something. Like, something cool or something, like, you know, vigilantes type of... I don't know. I think it would have just been more interesting and more meaningful, you know? And also, like, oh yeah, boy gets gifted power. Oh, you know what I'm saying? I'm like... Blah. So, that's what I mean, guys. Anyways, aside from my opinions and my own thoughts about the anime, are you guys enjoying the story so far? Do you like that it's mixed with xenomorphs? Because trust me, guys, it is just going to get more and more interesting. Because honestly, personally, also, this is like a side of me, if I were the xenomorph and I had to deal with Katsuki, I'd honestly just eliminate the kid at the start. I just eliminate him, or you know what, go to his mom, show her evidence, and if she didn't do anything about it within like 2 business days, it would get resolved with her son gone missing, and he's gonna be on those old looking milk cartons of missing children. That's where he would be. So if it wasn't dealt with in like 2 business days. Anywho, uh, yeah, you could just tell, you could just feel from my energy. I just do not like this kid at all. But, I'm just happy Izuku has a friend, right? And yeah, yay. There's a lot of theories going on about like the doctor, that the doctor was actually with All for One or something like that and stole Izuku's power, original power, which I have no idea what the hell it would be. There's a lot of theories behind that as well that I've seen going around. Let me know your thoughts on that, because that could like contribute to a lot of theories, but very interesting, very interesting. Any anywho, I gotta cut this real short, guys, because it's very late, but I decided to record this for you guys, because honestly, I was excited to read the story, I'm not gonna lie to you. Um, Sadly, you girls gotta go, though, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy it, though. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more amazing videos, guys. If this video is posted after Christmas, I hope you guys had an amazing Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy Los Tres Reyes that are coming up. If this is posted before January 6th. Yeah, guys, it's gonna be fun around here. It's gonna be fun. But anyways, your girls gotta go, guys. Bye and peace.